Because I started 15 seconds. Okay, not all. Okay, mama. My tears are it. Starting in 5 minutes. 5? Yeah. Okay. All right, yes. What is this, purple? Girl, it's like a wine kind of thing. Oh God, I can't use wine. You can't use wine? I can't use red on my lips. What? I can't use nothing looking like red or wine. On the light? No, for me personally, it's a spirituality. Yeah, I brown or something. Yeah, very nice color. Just put it on this. I will change it to like probably a pink or something. Mama. Does it look pink? Red. I'm not sure what it looks like. Nah, it's a different color for sure.
What does it look like?
It's definitely not wine anymore. It looks like a pink. Mama. Okay. It does not look like pink. Okay, it looks like a nice blend. I feel I have my stuff separately. Shall I do it unless you want to run on.
I'm just organizing something here, right?
Just giving a little shine there.
And we'll be on shortly.
Sure. You think I need this chain, girl?
What?
You think I need a chain? Oh, the earring is already plenty, huh? Yeah. Those are good. Looking good with the white. I was saying because of the white. Yes, I think so. Oh, I could do this. Yes. Oh, good. Yes, a one-sided thing.
Hi, Nicola. We're going to be on soon.
Oh, we're in here.
That's the is
Todos ya están listos. Is it on? Yeah.
All right.
10 seconds.
Let's get going. Let's get going there. You ready?
5 seconds.
You ready? All right, there we go. I am so.
I'm looking for it.
Hold on. I'm not hearing anything. Hold on. Hello, hello. I think when I put on the headphones, I lost it. All right, I'm hearing you now. Great.
You hear me now? Right.
Yes.
That was all me. That was all my
Okay.
mistake. Yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yes. You think after week 7 I would have gotten it all correct? So is he seen?
I'm cool, I'm cool. Glad to be here to talk some things.
Mm-hmm. So is he vibes? How the week treating you? How?
The week is good. It started off pretty tiring, but it will get better.
All right.
I always have hope.
Well, I know you're a positive person, so I know that's not a problem for you. You just deal strictly in energy, so
Yeah,
I know
definitely.
I know I know that's not a problem for you. So yeah, they start off the ball rolling. I don't know, like this week has been so much, my mind just, but we'll get there.
Yeah, man.
So start the ball rolling. I mean, for those who don't know, like I know,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you know, and I know everybody know that I know. But tell me who is Ajibola, who's Sheena Richardson, and who's Ajibola, and if there's a difference.
Okay, well, Sheena Richardson, first to begin, is the girl who was born out of one Lystra Alexander and Dylan Richardson. Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, a young girl who always had a passion to play drums ever since I was a tiny tot. I always tell people I started to play from the age of 3.
Mhm.
I mash up my mother Bible doing so. Um, mash up a few pots and pans doing so as well. I always had that passion. I also had a passion to sing as well. So those were the two things that I kept um, going back and forth with singing and playing drums. I held on more to playing drums because of the fact that, it got me around a bit more. Everybody was singing, but females were not really, playing
Mhm.
drums. It was always seen as this male dominated thing. And I wanted to change that. So I was like, listen, I'm going to be the baddest drummer there is in Trinidad and Tobago and by extension the world. And so Sheena Richardson is that individual, right? I morphed, as they say, people say morph. I morphed into Ajibola, and every time I tell people about Ajibola, Ajibola is that individual who. Hold on, let me just take out this fan because I think it's right. That's better. Yeah. So Ajibola is a name Yoruba in origin, right?
Mhm.
When I say Yoruba, is one of the African languages spoken in Nigeria. Yes. So the name was given to me through a certain initiation within the Ifa Orisha tradition.
Mhm.
And that was the name given to me. It means one who was born with wealth and who will always have wealth. And I always tell people as well, do not run me down because it does not mean that I have $1 million going
Eh,
on and on. You understand? If you want to speak that within my life, I will take it. But it does not mean that I only have tangible
So
things
so
attached.
it's not the DSS in a
I
sense.
am no. I am not the DSS of Siparia. No, I am not. So don't come and run me down. Say, hey, she name means wealth, so she
Mhm.
has the next.
I
I
look for
mean,
some dust. Yeah.
yes, I have thus. I speak it into being. You
Mhm.
understand? Because I mean, I live in. I had to have us to live. You had to
Mhm.
eat, breathe. You understand? But definitely, it means the wealth that it really speaks about is about good friends, good family, good energy, all these things that you need to coexist within this world, that is the world that it really speaks to, as well as material wealth. But all of the other aspects of wealth is that is what it speaks to. So this morphine would have taken place about, let's say, 7 or 8 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I would have wanted to do that ceremony and also get a name for myself because I was going under the name of Sheena Richardson. I was like, okay, yes, Sheena Richardson, but I wanted something, with a little more meaning or a little more oomph. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? So my middle name, one of my middle names that is Angel.
Mm-hmm.
So people started to call me Drum Angel. I was playing with a girl by the name of Janique Dennis, and she was like, your hands is really like the hands of an angel. I feel I'm gonna call it Drum Angel. I was like, that is my middle name. She was like, well, I think it should be called Drum Angel. So that was the name of the page before. My name was actually Drum Angel. You understand? And then I was like, okay, Drum Angel, not really sitting down too well with me, and especially the direction I was going with in terms of African spirituality, etc. So I was like, listen, I need to get a name that really suits me, suits my character, suits what really is the essence of who I am as an individual.
So,
And
so
that
you
is
went. So in a sense, you went the spiritual route to get to know.
exactly. Yeah.
So, I've met Sheena and I've met Ajibola, and I must say there has been a growth, not just talent wise, because I mean you have always been talented in my eyes.
Oh,
Um,
you said I'm talented.
but you know, like I've seen more purpose in what you're doing. You know what I mean? So talk a little bit about like Siparia. Like I know you grew up. Did you grow up all your life in Siparia? And what does
All of
Siparia
my
mean?
life, all of my life.
What does
Siparia is my home.
what does that mean to you? Like in essence, was Siparia responsible for that transition and that growth,
I
or that?
think I think the whole of South was responsible for my growth and development as an individual. I would have grown up among a pretty grassroots family. My family would have learned to play parang from those persons who would have played with Daisy Voze. So my uncles and they every Christmas they would come out with the quattro and box
Mhm.
bass and sing and still play prank. They learned from the guys who actually played with Daisy. One of them used to live down the hill from by us. You understand? So my family, my grandmother, all of the values and stuff that my mother and my extended family, because my grandmother had 13 children, and it's just one hill that we all reside on. So it's a pretty big family. All of the houses right next to each other, kind of thing. Her sister, her brothers, all of them. So it's a big population of us, the Alexanders, that is fine that we like a threat to the whole Siparia. But yeah, so Faizabad, I went to school in Faizabad. I went Faizabad Composite for 2 years. I transferred to Faizabad Anglican after. And that is where most of my cultural beginnings would have happened. I had a teacher by the name of Godfrey Luke. And Godfrey would have seen me in Faizabad Composite and seen my potential, seen how much I would have dedicated to playing drums. I would have not learned to play drums. I wasn't in any group or anything. The only time I had to play drum was home, mash up my mother Bible, as I say, listen to things like Best Village and stuff on TV, and then go back and replicate it on a bucket. So when I went in school, I would have known all of these rhythms, and he was like, but where you know these things from? You're not in a group, you're not in anything. So he really molded me. He now lives in Grenada, actually. I'm still in contact with him. And he would have molded me with my first set of playing. He actually made one of my first professional djembes. So yeah, through that and through a group called Faces of Culture, big up Judy Bootswain and Stephen Nick Joseph, they were the teachers there. And I learned a lot about our culture and what Trinidad and Tobago is, about Bele, about the different tribes, about Saraka, you name it culturally. That was the first breeding ground for me learning things. So South has a great part in me being who I am,
Okay.
Yeah.
So is that a third person not to talk to on this thing from South? And
Okay.
South seems to be, um, I don't know how to say. I feel I need to fix this. I feel I'm talking
Well,
too much South.
you could come down to South, South is very,
Yeah, but
very
I used to spend my Christmas holidays actually in Avocat. Well, close
okay.
to Fairfield.
Not bad.
So
Yeah, I have friends in
so
Avocat.
I actually have some cousins that went to Pfizer but compensate.
Okay. Possibly know
Uh,
them.
possibly
Mm-hmm.
because I mean all around the age. Um, so I know he's one of the gigabytes. It's one of the gigabytes. You get pretty well for percussionists. Um, how did that get like that? Like, how did people find out about Sheena Richardson, the percussionist, and
The
want
gigabyte.
they wanted to get them hands. They want to get them hands on that vibe
Oh, good.
on the sound.
Well, boy, I came into Port of Spain to do this gracious degree
Mm-hmm.
at the University of Trinidad and Tobago, Napa, to be exact. When I came in, I really didn't know anybody much. Them time you had internet, you probably had dial-up internet. So it's however long you have internet, you watch a
Mm-hmm.
little thing, you go on Facebook. My inspiration back then, or even a little before I would have started UTT, my inspiration back then was actually Tamika Davis. She was playing for
Yes.
this boy Nikolai and stuff,
Yeah.
playing
Yes.
cajon and stuff.
Yes.
I was like, who is this?
Mm-hmm.
I think I
Big
want
up
to.
Tamika.
Yeah,
South
definitely. Big up
South
yourself,
again.
Tamika. South again, exactly. Yes, for my inspiration, the female percussionist in Trinidad that I used to look up to is actually Tamika. But yeah, I came into Port of Spain to do that degree in UTT. I didn't read a note of music. Had to learn to read music in between them 4 years, get myself up to scratch. But I think definitely my name would have been spreading because of what I stood for. Um, so all of the grassroots stuff that I would have learned, all of the folk drumming that I would have learned, that is what persons really wanted to have. Somebody who was grounded within that stuff and yet still know about conventional instruments, know about classical music, know about any type of music or any genre as a matter of fact. And that was my whole aim in going to UTT, is that because persons were starting to say that folk drummers don't really amount to anything. Folk drummers don't really reach no further than teaching people in school for sandfest, drinking rum, and
And doing
smoking.
the emancipation.
Exactly. So, I mean, I was teaching a school for Sandfest while I was going to UTT, and I remember a principal telling me, "I hope you're not one of those drummers who just drink and smoke and lime on the side of the road." I was like, "Listen, you do not know me, and you do not know what I am about to do." And I had to let her know, "Listen, are you aware that I am achieving my degree right about now? Are you aware that I'm doing all of these things?" You understand? And she was mind blown. You understand? So, I mean, within that, I would have started to work with people like Erlins. Erlins was teaching at UTT. Persons were spreading my name. Students again. Students at UTT were spreading my name. Hey, Errol, you see this girl? She could play some congas. And the songs were really that he wanted the congas for was really a song that he made in dedication to his mom, I think. But he really wanted that Shango type feel. You understand? And he didn't know anybody who in the school could have given him that. So he would have tested a lot of other drummers, a lot of other percussionists who was in his school, and he was like, "But I'm not getting the sound that I want." You know? I didn't know the song. He was like, and one of my friends, big up Michelle Henry as well. That was one of the first persons who actually put me onto a lot of those Calypsonians to work with. She was like, "Hey, Errol want a specific thing, give him what he want." And that has always happened to me in calypso gigs too. I just never know the song, but because I know the structure of the music and I know the form and I know some of the individuals, and that's an important thing. Because I know some of the individuals who sing, I know what they're looking for. I know what to give them. You understand? I know what if they want a little bit of this, or I need to pull back more, or I could solo a little bit here. I know the individuals, so it really influences how I play.
Yeah.
So Errol wanted that, and I went into the rehearsal, and he was like, "Listen," he cried. He actually cried for that rehearsal, that entire rehearsal. Everybody in there, I mean, yes, pretty, I know that, but everybody in there was like, "What you do, the man? What you do, the man? You just come in just so. This girl just come in just so, and make the man start to cry." You understand? He cried like a baby. He was like, "Listen, I want you to play on every calypso gig I have from now on," and that landed me the Calypso Fiesta gig and the March Gras gig. That is why many people see me playing for the March Gras and Calypso Fiesta from that one time that I had to play for Erlins. You understand? I would have played too with Terran Shaw, and Terran would have known me through his students, Dean and Andre, and they would have been going back to Terry and saying, "Listen," because Terry like that acoustic sound. Sometimes he doesn't like too much going on. So Terry was looking for this cajon player. He didn't want any drums, and it was guitar, just guitar ensemble. So just light shakers, cajon, a little bongos here and there. And he didn't know anybody within the school that could do it. Dean was like, "Terry, call Sheena." He's like, "But who's this Sheena girl? I don't understand. Who's this Sheena girl?" So I pull up in the rehearsal now with a little cajon. I didn't have my cajon at that time yet, but I used to borrow the school own. I went into a room, I think it was 203, and I carried the cajon, and he was like, "Where you come from?" I was like, "Siparia." He was like, "Nah, boy, but I can't, I can't understand. I can't understand. You're just playing everything, little snippets here, and it's just enough, So I would have, yes,
tasteful, right?
Exactly. So that would have landed me that gig with Terry, and from Terry, it just went on and on and on. I had gigs with Crystal Kane. I had gigs with Janique Dennis. From Janique Dennis would have landed me the gig with Ruth Osmond. Ruth was looking for a percussionist. Her husband was playing for her, and she just wanted an acoustic vibe with Ruth, her flute, and Wayne Guerra. And the same thing happened when I landed in the rehearsal with Wayne Guerra and Ruth. Wayne was like, "But you're playing everything in the right spots." And I didn't even know Ruth's music at that time. You understand? But again, once you know an individual well enough to know what it is they're looking for, you are able to create the atmosphere that is necessary to make the music sound and feel good.
So in that time there, which part of that timeline was Hijinks? Because I think that's where I met you.
Hijinks was 2012. Yeah, that was the genesis of songs like Ashe, and I had another song called Do KTV, which is Don't Kill the Vibe.
Yes, I remember.
Yes. Do KTV. I still have to record that one actually. So yeah, 2012 was Hijinks. That was like my second year or third year. No, that was my second year actually, because I performed that at my junior recital. A friend of mine who lives to Tobago by the name of Kellyanne Woodstrom, she came to the recital because I had, to be quite frank, I had the whole of UTT on lock. They used to call me mother because everybody who need advice, counseling, you name it, they used to call me in UTT, "Go by mother. You're feeling sick? Go by mother. Your head hurting here? Go by mother." So she said, "Mother, I come into recital." The whole dance room at the time, which was about 20 something of them, they came to support me at my recital. And I had dancers and stuff dancing too in my recital, because to me, I believe nothing goes in isolation. If you're talking about percussion, you're talking about dance. And the only thing I didn't get to do that day was cook some food and show how they all intertwine. You understand? But that is me. So she came and she was like, "Listen, I like that song called Ashe. I think I'm going to put you on to the committee in Tobago Jazz Festival." And that is where we
That's how they get in.
Yeah. That's how we get
Oh.
the gig. Yeah. So she had love. She fell in love with Ashley. She was mind blown. She was like, that piece will do well. And that's how we got the Space Side gig.
All
You
right.
understand? And we mash up with garlic sauce and with
Big up,
Kendall.
big up Kendall,
Big up
wherever he is.
Kendall is exact. Kendall is in
Barbados, I believe.
Barbados.
Yes.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that was an experience for me because I don't know how I got introduced to Oli, to be honest. Because
Yeah.
I was doing the Wood and Jazz series.
Exactly, in Tao Sushi.
Yeah, and I was looking for acts. I don't know who. I can't remember who it is from Oli, To be honest,
Really?
I can't go back to the past like some people. Like
It
I
could
just
be Cricks. I
forget.
think there's Cricks. Nathaniel. I don't know
It wasn't
Nathaniel.
Cricks.
You
It wasn't
sure?
Cricks. It wasn't
Okay.
Cricks.
Okay.
Most likely be Aaron or
I think it's Aaron. It could be Aaron. Yeah, it could be Aaron. Yeah.
And why Papa just heard about it all, and I decided to go down
That
and
too.
check all
That
out.
too.
And
That too.
and I decided, okay, this is why I want to be part of this somehow.
Yeah. Them timings we just go in rehearsal in the morning, coming for 10 o'clock and leaving Napa all kind of 8, 9, 10 in the night, just because we like to play and like to create music and bouncing off ideas off each other. You know? Yeah.
But have you, as you talk about that, that passion for like rehearsing all day and vibes in with musicians, do you get time now to do that, or it's now more structured and
it don't happen again. I mean, I would love that. That is what I came out of. Coming out of Best Village and them kind of thing. Ain't nothing beating that, Rehearsals, they start in the morning and finish until it's done. Best Village rehearsal is like pan rehearsal, You come and till it's done, you understand? And that and it's more of a community thing whereby you're chilling, you're liming, you're playing some, you're doing other things. So it's really because for me, when I used to practice the Best Village and stuff, half the time you spend creating costumes, just talking in general, and it's a lot of different disciplines you start across. So you start across choir, you're doing drumming, you're doing music, you're doing dance, theater, So I was accustomed to that. So I think now we don't really have a lot of that going on. People are really shedding and doing any thing.
But I mean, it just comes down to you just have to take away something to get something. Like it's like a balance now.
Yeah.
Because I could do the Panyard thing whole day with music. I could do the Panyard or Best Village thing with music whole day. But we have lives and we get like when I was younger.
Yeah. You had to put some structure on it.
When you was younger and you like with your partners and them, but boy, when we get car, we'll go here, we'll get there, we'll go everywhere.
Yeah. And then life happens.
When life happens, when everybody had car now, nobody going away.
Yeah, and then some people working too. Yeah. It's about balance for me.
But you think
about balance.
But you think if we had some sort of industry in a sense where it was not say like everybody was rich, but it was a functioning financial institution music was, and we could have had a day job where we 8 to 4, like how did the police band does work in a sense, and most bands could function in that manner where you go to a specific place for a certain amount of time and there's a brotherhood formed and it's not just running from gig to gig. I think to me that is the best way to do music,
But I think even with that, people just get comfortable, Even with having that structure, I mean, I think it all depends on the individual. And if you have a group of individuals that know, what you're trying to achieve and go for, you get a core group, because you will try to do that with everybody and say, well, all right, we had this functioning body that doing this, and sometimes it don't always work out because not everybody is on the same page. Some people be on it for kicks and games. Some people be on it for their own demise and don't study the music. So again, I think it's all about balance. It's all about the individuals that come in together and what it is they're really trying to achieve. Because I mean, I don't mind jamming and singing, but again, as you say, you had to have some structure. If it is, all right, people working, we come in at this time. Don't waste my time. That's why I say, don't waste my time. If I come in, you say 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, let it be 7 or 8 o'clock. You understand? We could go till whatever. I go tell you, well, if I can flex, but let it be the time you say it is supposed to be, so that you don't waste nobody time.
You come for 7, yes, and it's 10 o'clock, and then
Yeah, and then,
by the time to jam is a smoke weed and
of course, you think, they take a pull, I mean, nothing wrong, nothing wrong with people when they take their pull and get ahead and all of these things, But I mean, time and place. If we say we come in to do something, we come in to do. If that is what your group entails, again, if this is what your group entails, or 7 o'clock, or let's come 10 o'clock, or let's take a smoke. And whenever, if that is what a group entails, don't get me wrong, I'm not fighting on nobody. You understand? But whatever it is, let it be solid, let it be concrete. That's where you're going with, and we'll get better.
Nice. Blissful talks and blissful.
Blissful talks and bliss.
Bliss, right?
Yes.
Bliss, right.
Which one you want to talk about first? Blissful talks and then
bliss. Let's talk about Let's talk about the album first.
Right.
Because I think one sparked the other.
Yes, exactly. Bliss. Bliss, the album came about. The name only came about last year. I just knew I wanted to do an album. I just knew I wanted to show persons another side of me. Because I found that persons were only seeing me for a percussionist. And I go way beyond just being a percussionist. I dance as well, but I ain't ready to show that side. Probably next year we'll get to that.
No, we'll get to that soon.
But the singing part, I wanted to really show people, and not just me, because I'm not the average singer where you sing R&B or you sing reggae or you sing, I mean, I do all genres. However, what I strive to do is really be an organic vocalist. So this for me, that means for me being a little more than the Shantwell. You understand? So it's me taking the music that a Shantwell normally utilizes and placing it in all other genres, taking the style, the way in which the Shantwell really embodies the music, and putting it into jazz, into reggae, into soul, you name it, and just giving people a part of me that they never saw before. You understand? Because I had a lot of misconceptions about me, and I mean, that's all well and good. Whatever your opinion about me, it don't really matter to me. But I really want to make a statement for me, you understand, to show who I am. You understand? Whatever you think after, that's up to you. You understand? So Bliss, the songs that are actually on Bliss are songs that were composed a very long time ago, some 7 years ago, some 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Ashe is actually one of them that is going to be on the album that was composed with hijinks at the time. It only had a melody, and when we were looking for songs to play, because we were all composing at the time, as I said, and I was going home with Dareem. Dareem used to travel with me. He lived in Debe, I live in Siparia, so we traveled together. You understand? Big up Dareem, my whole brother. And he was like, "What songs you have? What song you have?" I said, "I have some songs, but I was so afraid because I knew the effects of my voice. You understand? Anytime I would sing for the dancers or sing anywhere in particular, people used to either one, catch a power. That's the best way to put it. Catch a power, or feel a certain way. Some men used to run away, falling in love with me. And yes, And it used to be very tough trying to get
I,
them to understand, listen, I am taken.
you wanna teach me that, boy? I never learn that. I never learn that skill. I never learn that skill, you know.
No, I mean, I used to try to tell them, listen,
Ah, boy.
you had
Should I
to,
bring my bottle?
nah, I had to wet my throat because this getting sticky. And getting sticky. So, yeah, that used to be the effects, just some of the effects, you understand? People would come crying and saying, the music healed them, it make them feel a certain way, it stir up a certain emotion, you understand? So I was really skeptical about, I said, me boy, I said, Dream, you sure you want me to come and do some kind of composition? He's like, yeah, play what you have, play what you have. So Ashay actually started. I just had this melody in my head. I was going, dum pa di di do day, dum pa di di do day. So I was like, but I feel I want to change it to hallelujah, hallelujah. I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to use that hallelujah because it wouldn't resonate with everybody. And I don't think I only want to reach a certain demographic,
Graphic.
So I changed that. I was like, the hallelujah thing not really vibrating with me. But he was like, no, I like that. I like that. Wherever the melody is, we like that and we go in with that. And Ashe was composed by me singing out every part. I sang every part that needed to be played. So what Aaron was playing, what Dareem played, what Janine played, I sang out that. That's how I compose. I sing all the parts. I hear all the parts in my head. You understand? And it gives me that space to put this here, put that here, So it has really given me the leeway rather than me going on a keyboard. To me, hearing and singing everything in my head and telling somebody, play that or play this, it gives me a little more freedom. So I like how that happens. So yeah, that is one of the songs on Bliss, the album. I have other songs that are dedicated to Orisha.
The
I
song that
have
the song that you performed for Freedom and Love.
right that is
Know,
piety. Yeah, that's piety. So it's Minoju Kokoro.
Mino
And
Chukokoro. Mino Chukokoro.
yeah, that song was the answer to persons who started to misunderstand why people like Rodney and they were calling me Gigabyte. You understand? So I had people like Rodney and Shaq. Them as my brothers, you understand? We gigging together whole time. So they used to jokingly say, hey, Gigabyte, what's your only thing? And so Rodney and I just go competition on how much gigs we just do for the month or the year. So he say, hey, you think you do more gigs than me, thing, whatever. So a lot of people was like, nah, she too greedy. You take my gig here, you understand? And I take this one gig there and I do this. And I was like, this is not me. I do not understand why you would be saying such a thing. Because if somebody is to hire you, there must be a reason why they want to hire you in the first place. You understand? And when I asked person like, why do you want to hire me? You understand? Because my name was now starting to get out there. And it's only probably a few performances, but my name was coming with a good report. You understand? So I decided, I was like, listen, I'm making a song
One for the haters and them.
about this.
One for the haters and
Yeah.
them.
You understand?
We all have that song.
Exactly.
We all have
Exactly.
that tune.
And I mean, as the words of it says, in life you're trying to fix things, but the world keeps turning. We may fuss and fight, twans and tussles. Sometimes it marks our life, but the world keeps turning. And Minoju Kokoro actually means I'm contented. You understand? So Miko Lokonjua is actually the first part. Miko Lokonjua means I am the person who exemplifies or is patient, I am not greedy. I am not cravicious. Lokonjua means greedy. So if I say me call Lokonjua, call actually cancels out the fact of that greediness. You understand? Minoju Kokoro, and I have a verse also that speaks about Oni Suru, which means that I am patient. I never rushed to be a percussionist. I took my time. I went through the paces. I waited,
Mm-hmm.
you understand, and persons hired me based on my persona, if
Mm-hmm.
nothing else, so that song is really in dedication to the so-called haters them, but which I love too, because they
Yeah,
make me grow and
they, they,
develop.
they,
Yeah,
they, they,
so
mo- they motivate you too, I mean, they
exactly. So
motivate you too
they
better.
actually pushed me to do the album as well.
Mm-hmm.
So Bliss really was supposed to drop this year,
Mm-hmm.
because of COVID, other things started to take shape. But I didn't want it to be that, it stopped and nothing was happening. So I was like, you know what? I think I want to have a show. I messaged a sister of mine. I was like, listen, I feel like when I have a show and name it Blissful Talks. It was a lot of Asia talk. I talk real stupidness about why I should have this show called Blissful Talks.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, it came together that Blissful Talks was born.
Who's that
And
sister? Gerald?
yeah,
Gerald?
Gerald Forbes.
All right, we had a shout out for you. That is leave Forbes you out of the thing. My sister.
Yeah.
Where's my
No,
sister?
me
Where's
and
that?
the name would have come about. I'm talking about Blissful Talks.
Because
You understand?
we know she named like a call.
Of course,
Right,
I'm talking
okay.
about Blissful Talks, so the
All
name
right.
would have come about. Yeah, that's that. But so Blissful Talks really seeks to really explicate the album, show people what is the inspiration behind the album. Who are some of the people who would have inspired me, who would have contributed to my growth and development, so I would have done Tamba. Tamba was one of my greatest inspirations in terms of me becoming a young female percussionist. We would have crossed so much paths while I was growing up. And unknowing to him too, he clean forget some of the things. He was like, wait, but you was really right there when I was there, Ruth Osman, one of the first persons, as I mentioned before, whom I would have started really made my percussion career pick up. Ruth was one of those persons. Wanted Bigfoot. My career just do a cartwheel and all of the gymnast things that was happening with percussion. That happened to me while I started to play for Ruth. You understand? So all of these people, I'm going to have a episode on capoeira, because when I was just coming into being Ajibola and finding myself in a different light and looking into myself and African spirituality a little bit more, capoeira was the first point of reference for me. You understand? Because capoeira started off in Brazil, of course, and it was something that the Brazilians, the Afro-Brazilians to be exact, would have done before church. And they would have done it as a form of resistance to, praise and sing their ancestors, sing to their ancestors and to sing to Orisha, etc. So I'm gonna have an episode on that. And all of these things. I mean, Blissful Talks is gonna be an ongoing thing. It doesn't just stop when the album launch, but it really seeks to just make people understand Ajibola a little bit more, and also find your own bliss. I really encourage persons to find your own bliss in life. And that doesn't always mean that you have to be happy, because there are times that bliss for you could mean just lying down in bed and reflecting. Bliss for me sometimes is going in some piece of forest in the back of my house and crying until my eye get red. Trust me, because there's a lot of healing in that too. So I really encourage people with Blissful Talks to find their own bliss if you haven't find what that is yet. But I think it's really crucial that persons, look into that a little bit so that they can have a better life.
So you talk about Brazil, and it just spark something in my mind about rhythms. So there's Brazilian rhythms. Like I usually ask guests, like, what's your favorite, artist, or what's your favorite music, or that kind of thing. But what's your favorite rhythms, or which country do you favor? Like, I know
God.
Brazil have specific rhythms, Cuba have specific rhythms, and then there's the whole continent,
Yeah,
different rhythms. Have you delved into all these particular rhythms, and I know Trinidad have their own specific. Big up Madupe, come in
Hey, doops.
the chat day.
One of my inspirations too while I was growing up as a percussionist, I was like, wait, who's this boy with all of this? You understand? All of these trinkets and thing to go so and toot. I mean, I would have been aware of his father and played alongside his father and stuff with Ella and Dal, but he was like, yeah, my son does do them things, play with all them other things. And, so big up Madupe for being that source.
So yeah, the rhythms, how
I particularly like Afro-Cuban stuff. However, I love Brazilian stuff too. To say a particular rhythm, I can't say, because I just love any rhythm you put in front of me. You understand? Any rhythm you play and you say, all right, let me go down inside of it. I like it. I try not to have a favorite. I try not to have a favorite, because especially being a teacher too, try showing favoritism sometimes. It is kind of leave you lopsided, So, but I like Afro-Cuban stuff, anything to do with any kind of Afro thing in the diaspora. So whether it be Afro-Peruvian, which is more of the cajon style of playing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Afro-Peruvian stuff, definitely playing, we call it thing, Solera, and what is that next rhythm, boy? Max Zoom and thing on Dumbek and stuff, all of those stuff. I learn all of those things, you understand, to really broaden my scope, especially for teaching too, you understand. But I love anything to do with Afro in the diaspora, you understand. So whether it be playing for flamenco, dancing, playing gypsy style stuff, playing Orisha style things, playing bachata, playing wawanko, playing capoeira stuff, it don't really matter to me, you understand, because they all resonate within my spirit. You understand? It connects me to one road, and that is my ancestors. So
nice.
Yeah.
You mentioned a name that's not there, and it jump out at me, Ella Andel. What does Ella Andel mean to you and your career as not just a percussionist, but as a person?
Well, I will correct you first to begin, because she does tell me this since I would have been around her. She said her name is Ella with plenty dal. So it's not Ella Andel. She said she fed up how people call she Andel. Ella and plenty dal. So Ella and dal, right?
Okay, look at that. I'm making that. I'm checking yes now.
Yes, Andall, right? So Ella and Dal. Ella and Dal, UTT again. I would have been always in the dance room, as I said. So you see how all the stories connecting. I would have been always in the dance room helping out my dance colleagues, because, as I say, that's an next part of me. I'm a dancer as well. So I used to go in there, help them out, sing certain folk songs, etc. for them. And there was one performance in particular where we were doing, I think it is a Saraka with Sonia Dumas. So I was the Shantwell. Again, listen to the effects of my voice. As I open my mouth, 2-3 people catch the powers. You understand? So they say, well, we can't have Sheena dealing with this all the time, because sometimes I had to be running from my class to come upstairs to deal with certain issues with the dance room, etc. Right? So they say, all right, we'll call Ella at evening. So they call Ella, and you hear my fan? Yeah. So they would have called Ella and told her, listen, we have children when I'm going to say children, we have some individuals manifesting and we need their assistance. So Ella would have came to the room. Now, I didn't start to play with Ella yet, but I had always admired Ella and one of the things that I wanted to do, which I actually wrote down in one of my journals when I was younger, back in 28, I should have find it and bring it to show you too. One of the bucket list items was actually to sing and perform with Ella and Al. So when I saw Ella in that room that day, I was mind blown. So I walked up to her. I was like, listen, my name is Sheena Richardson, so by so. I'm the drummer in the corner there. I'm the person who was singing, ting, ting, ting. She was, yeah, I'm taking you in, ting, 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 ting. So started asking me some questions, who you know, who you think. And then she was like, what do you play beside drums? I said, well, I play vibraphone, marimba. She's like, you play vibraphone and marimba? I was like, yeah, well, I play all of those. She was like, wait, no, you gotta come and play for me. Because you singing serious. You not just, a girl who just play drum. And I went there. Now, I didn't go to audition on drums, although she was making me come into the band for playing drums. But I went there and I auditioned on voice. You understand? She was like, sing something for me. Ting, 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 ting. And I sang. I can't remember what I sang. I don't know if it's a song for Shango or something. But anyhow, when I was done, she was like, listen, you have the voice of a Shantwell. She was like, you wouldn't see it now, but in time to come, you're going to be doing your own things. You understand? And as the time went on and it passed and she would have admitted me into the band, I would have played alongside some really good elders like Redman Watson and Junior. And they would have really groomed me and Ella herself as well. I used to reach the rehearsal before anything started and just vibes with her. And I would have gotten stories and she would have taught me things about life and about spirituality and about me just being an individual and an artist that would have been reputable in this here musical industry. One of the first persons to teach me about per diem and traveling and knowing your worth as an artist, especially when you travel, was Alanda. I would have gone to numerous Tobago gigs and traveled to England with her. I remember particularly a gig we had for, I think was Jazz Festival, the night when they had Pan Jazz, and they wanted to put her up in some guest house that Cockroach and thing was running, and she was like, listen, no. I had this child out. I was 19 at the time. She was like, no, I take this child out of she mother house, way down in Siparia to come here for a little put. No. Y'all will get me to where you call the place? Is Magdalena we went, boy? Or Grafton? One of them. One of them we went, and trust me, in the space of an hour, I'm telling you the power of that woman. In the space of an hour, a car came and took us up. There was like, pack your things now, we leaving, we're going to check out. And everything full 100, meals, per diem, you name it. And she, every time I would go in the room before a performance or before a rehearsal, she was like, listen to me. You see what I just did there? Never settle when you reach anywhere to perform. She's like, never settle, never put down all your thing. And, if you comfortable in this space, then. But if you're not comfortable in this space, you demand what it is you want as an artist. And a lot of other things she would have taught me, but definitely I hold that woman up to very high esteem. I would be nothing if it wasn't for Ella Andal. I mean, in terms of an artist, she definitely made my artist life a little better because I would have learned to really know my worth and not settle for less and, charge the prices that I charge and them kind of thing.
Now, I've asked this question about constantly over different guests, I guess, because you're an ex-woman interviewed. But is it difficult maneuvering the industry as a woman?
Oh God.
Or do you think people treat you different as a woman percussionist
Ah,
versus, as they say, it's a male-dominated field?
it is. It is. And thankfully, I have people within my life who make my life a lot easier. I have warriors within my life that make my life a lot easier. Before, I used to fight a lot. All coming up in school and thing, I had that kind of warrior energy. And after I got my name, Ajibola, it was said, hey, do lesson down on that kind of fighting spirit you have because it really could make you reach nowhere.
So you used to beat people. You used to beat people. You say people are hard and thing.
If you look for it, you get it. You understand? But I mean, don't come wrong me. I just don't like shippiness and injustice and them kind of shippiness. I don't like that. You understand? But being a female is difficult because you have to work 10 times harder. Yeah, for starters, in terms of one, you can make a mistake. In terms of look, you have an off day. Somebody want to say, hey, what going on with she
looking so?
Yeah, what she looking so? She a thing, Oh, and being a female too, as a percussionist, you tend to be misunderstood too in terms of how you should dress, why you should dress a certain way, and all kind of thing. I have many people come up to me and like, well, I thought you would have come here in a sneakers and a jersey and a pants. Bruh, that's not my style. I mean, there are persons who would do that, but that is not my style. You understand?
Because I was expecting to come in a she's on a jersey and sneakers today.
Yeah.
And when I turn, only thing I see makeup doing and Christmas tree, and I say, where's this?
Listen to me.
For little old John by?
I am the Baba Sup of Siparia. My mother does make an ice cream called Baba Sup.
Mm-hmm.
I am the Baba Sup of Siparia. You hear what I'm saying? So, I not going on with no jeans and no sneakers. Time and place for that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. You understand? Don't get me wrong, but time and place for that. Me, I particularly like to go on stage looking good and smelling good. That are the two things.
Mm-hmm.
I must bathe, whether I go wherever, I must bathe. I must have some nice smelling perfume, and I must be looking good. I particularly like onesies. So that is mainly my style of dress because of having the cajon between my leg and thing. I don't really wear dresses. But if I wasn't a percussionist or standing and playing, hello, I like tight up clothes, But anyhow, that's a different story. But being a female, as I say, I'm very fortunate to have people like you all who, not really on my defense, I would say, but, people would know, hey, she does like with John, so relax yourself, Almost like a big brother figure. So people like Rodney, people like Mr. Shaq, yourself, a host of other different artists, people would respect me because of the people that I am associated with. You understand? And also because of who I am as an individual. You understand? Or who I have grown to become. Let me say that. You understand? But they're the one-off times when there are males who jump out themselves and be like, yeah, I no place here. What you doing playing drums? I had a fellow percussion colleague when I was going UTT. He really apologized to me after making a statement. He was like, I really thought that you were a different person because I see you playing percussion as a female. I was like, well, what is supposed to mean?
I thought you was loose.
You understand? But then he was like, I really have to come and apologize to you because this is really not what you stand for, And I was like, boy, it really matters to me, whatever you think. I'm just out here showing people who I am, and that's it. You understand? That's basically it. But it's had the one-off ones who just try to make your life difficult. I particularly get that energy in calypso gigs. It's them older percussionists who, they kukung and them want to diverge from that, and the calypsos that they are now persons are not really, yes, they're using the traditional calypso rhythms, but they're not really using it that much in so close now, if you understand what I'm saying. Because now you have calypsonians who utilize in samba, they putting montunos into their music, so they're looking for that holistic percussion song as opposed to just having two congas there. You understand? So when I exactly. So when I go and I do a calypso gig, is congas, is bongos, is chimes, is atmospheric stuff, all to give the calypso a little more meat rather than it just being so empty. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love traditional calypso. I love to listen to traditional calypso and hearing that bongo drum in the back. It does something, but I think music evolves, and the timing that we're in right now, some of them older guys and just get horrors when they see me. This year in particular, I had a problem with a percussionist who come to play alongside me. The man take up the whole space. I didn't know where I was going to set up. He set up a thing and he just stayed right there. I was like, but what is happening? Is Errol who had to tell him, listen, it's not you alone playing, Sheena has to come and play too, so you need to put a little space. But in his mind, this is not my industry. What's she doing here? You understand? I know no female come and play no percussion. I doing this for years. She can't come and play. She coming to take thing. I know Errol since probably when they're pitching marble. Me and know Errol from Adam, but you understand? But that is the kind of thing that is usually happen with respect to me being a female. But other than that, I think within the Trinidad jazz circuit, it kind of lessened down now. People is just be expecting now that Ajibola coming out, and I can't drop the ball. I had to make sure that I looking like a piece of meat seasoned with salt and sugar.
Now you mentioned calypso, and there's a lot of discussion around youth and calypso and people, the genre evolving. Would you consider yourself a calypsonian?
I won't. I would not consider myself a calypsonian.
Why not?
I have too many things. They will say my thing is a kalalu. So I wouldn't consider it as calypso. You understand? And then it's how to put it? As I say, my style is an extension of the chantwell, yes, but it encompasses so much other things. You understand? So
but that is the debater, because they were saying calypso has always encompassed a lot of different things over the years. Whether it was funk, whether it was jazz, whether it was big band music, calypso always was our style of the thing. Now
it's the way that they would report. I think I'm getting at is the style of how they would report. So my stories does not take that form. So I'm a bit more free form. So I do not consider myself Elanda don't even consider herself as a calypsonian. But
people would call her a calypsonian.
And people would call her a calypsonian. But the way how I would report, I would not consider myself a calypsonian. I would give my calypsonian friends and they that portfolio. You understand? Because and even if I go up to somebody like Chalk does, one of my ex-professors, he will not consider what I do as calypso.
But I think that's what a lot of people have an issue with. For the thing to evolve and grow and not stick in that form where, it's just thing from 1960 that keep on evolving, that stick in this form. A lot of the younger artists are now adopting the term calypso, like say Jim October, this new calypso thing, or saying that the genre itself could have different moods now. So it doesn't always have to be this one tone or this one thing. That the calypso, like most other genres, have different. Like there's slow jazz, there's there's what kind of different jazz? Like calypso could do the same thing, and you could be just another sub-genre of jazz of calypso.
A subgenre, yeah. I mean, it could. It'll take a long time to get there because some of the elders would not approve of it.
I have something to say.
I mean, I could call it that because
Yeah.
the root of what I am doing, yes, the root of it being that person, the chant well, the singing about my experiences, because essentially calypso takes on any topic. There are various topics. Calypso is a broad thing. You understand? I can say that I'm a new age calypsonian. I can say that.
Yeah.
But as I say again, we have some elders who will not approve of that. And we have to get some common ground between the elders and the young people now to really state, well, okay, remember, this is what happened to Kitchener, because Kitchener utilized bebop and stuff within his calypsos. You understand? You have a lot of calypsos that used to speak to the Orishas and so on. A lot of calypsos who East Indian rhythms and stuff within it. You have you have all those subgenres as you were rightfully speaking about. But this is my opinion. Until some of these elders die, we are not going to see a change unless we come together as the younger people and sit with the elders and state, this is what we are doing now. We are appreciative of what you all did with the calypso back then, but we want to take it a step further, and we think this is the way to go. If you listen to Helan Francis's music, a lot of people will think that is a R&B or a slow C singing. You understand? But that is his style. You understand? And he utilizes a lot of other elements too, that makes his music Helan Francis Calypso. But I wouldn't take on that mantle yet and say I is that the right calypso. And as for me, no. As for me, no.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Because I am struggling with that too. Because I mean, I trying to find ways to because you're born a Trinidadian, is a calypsonian in essence, no boy. Regardless of what genre you're doing, in essence, he's a calypsonian because.
Well, when you put it that way, okay, I could see it that way. Yeah.
But we are 17 minutes. I have so much other things to talk about. I mean, my battle I didn't really.
Yeah.
But like a lot of things jumping out of my mind now. I mean, we discuss Orisha and that kind of thing, and the importance of Orisha, and
however you want the direction to go, let me go.
So right? I mean, do you think you think there should be more education on African spirituality, like in schools and in general public, to know what it is, and it's not all this negative connotation to the thing?
Definitely. And even if it's not going to happen with schools, that is one of the things that Ajibola, is going to do with respect to educating people about African spirituality a bit more. That was one of the reasons why I got into it as heavy as I am in it now. I mean, I was always in it, but when you're young, you see so much things and you hear so much things, you don't want to be a part of it. I was in and out kind of way, But that's because there's always this stigma attached to it. When you go to school, it's children watching you a certain way. Like I had friends who, every time I say I have a prayers or a Thanksgiving or something, they used to watch me a kind of way. And I invited a friend that time to Thanksgiving, and when she reached back to school, I was in primary school at the time. When she reached back in school, the whole class my mother catch power and what she do from what she had do, and it was messy. It was messy, but at the time I didn't understand. So I think there definitely needs to be a bit more education when it comes to that and awareness, because I mean They have a little section of that, like a very tiny section of what spiritual Baptist Orisha and all of these other African spiritualities in Trinidad and Tobago are about. It's very tiny and it does not go in depth at all. It only states, okay, these people would have come to Trinidad and Tobago, formulated this religion, and they used to run up in the hills, blah 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 blah. It's very vague, very vague, you know, and it leaves a lot of questioning from a lot of people, and then you have people going with the wrong
idea.
ideas. Yeah. So even our history books, like when I was doing history, and that was one of the reasons why I did history too in secondary school, was because I really needed to know. Did I do history for CXE? Yes, I did. Yeah. So the part like there's nothing about Americans in our history book.
Which is strange because you learn about Columbus and all kind of idiots.
Of course. And the Americans play a great part within our community here in Trinidad, our Afro Trinidad community. I'm an American descendant too, by the way, by my father's side. Yeah, so there's not much of that within our history books. There's very more information is given about the other islands than what actually came here. Like there's nothing when I was doing history really in concrete about the Rada community. There's not much.
What community?
The Rada community.
Okay, not familiar. Look at that.
Right. So that is another type of African spirituality that we have in Trinidad and Tobago. It would have come from Dahomey. Yeah, it would have come from Dahomey, and they do similar things to Orisha or Yoruba practitioners. However, their things are synonymous with Haitian voodoo.
Okay.
Yeah, so they would do worship Dambala and what's her name, Izuli, and those sorts of energies. Those sorts of energies, and their drumming is different as well. They have different rhythms. They have different hands to the drums that they play. The different rhythms are called different hands, so they would have different hands as well. There's nothing about that in our history books.
We could talk about we could talk our next whole hour on this.
Yeah, it's
people not really familiar.
Trust me, I spend a lot of my time, John, in university and in secondary school, probably in primary school as well, teaching my friends so that they would understand that I am not somebody to be feared. Teaching my significant others as well. I have many boyfriends who think I walk over on them or something. And because they find that they love me off too much. So they think that I do something to them. Why would I waste my time? You understand? But it's because people always hearing about, people walk out Obion and they get sweat rice. And I think, listen, I love to cook. If I and you wraps up in a thing and we together, trust me, I love to cook for my man. So if I cook and the food tastes good, don't the matters no sweat rice. I don't have no time to sit down and sweat no rice. You understand? I have time to cook with love to get it. But I say not to say that the misconception and the stigma is attached to African spirituality in Trinidad, so much so that people just run the next direction from the time you say, or from the time they hear tup 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 tup. Yeah, them nah man, I shan't go thing. I going from here. You understand? I ain't want no part of that. They might like the rhythm, you know. They might like the rhythm. They go hear Ella and Dal music. They go saying, take me there, and they're going down, yeah, boy, it's nice to bad. But invite them to something. You understand? Invite them to something, or tie up your head and go by the place in a certain color. Like we say, I dress up all in red and I go down, I come down by you.
Yeah, that is cute.
Yeah, that's real stupidness.
I think that's a lot of people that do actually practice, do these things and say things like that, or they will come on Facebook and say, I saw a story there. There's some woman says she tapped some man for some,
And basically people that just want to hit to tap. You understand? Because half of the time, the people who do these things are people who know very little about what the whole pantheon is about. You understand? And sometimes they're just doing that for people to fear them, to make people have a certain amount or level of fear towards them. So, all right, I will go up and say, yeah, I go ting, and I go time a man, or I go send a crap for you. I'm not saying that these things do not happen. You understand? And I'm not saying because people had this thing that obia, well, if obia is bad or good, I'm not saying that there is not obia. You understand? However, you must, with anything, with any energy, you as an individual has to know how to deal with it. It's about balance. You understand? You cannot go in the bank every day and you trying to get your money and you're going nice every day and you're talking to the teller, can I have my money out of my account, please? And she's telling you no. And at some point, you will have to utilize some other form of emotion. You'll go back next week and say, listen, that nice thing I walk in. I feel I gotta go and use some force. And you're gonna apply some pressure and say, listen, I've been coming here for 5 weeks. I need to get my money now. You understand? Exactly. So essentially, that is what persons cannot understand about African spirituality. It's all about balance. You understand? Life is not always about up. It has some downs too. It's how you utilize the energy. You understand? And how you direct the energy as well. That makes the difference. You understand? So I spend a lot of time teaching people, and then when I explain things to them, it's like, but I never saw it from that light before. I always seen it because sometimes you grow up, you hear the neighbor, there's fly sukunya or some kind of thing, and then a whole story formulate, and you can't sleep in the night, and
that was my story. As I was telling Lisha last week, that was my story. My people used to say that my grandmother was a sukunya. Like I heard that when I was growing up, and she was a Baptist as well.
Right.
But I got a lot of the fear and the information or we learned from actually like with Baba and Madupe, and they kind of demystify a lot of this stuff for me too. Where at the reach point of I wouldn't say I'm practicing Orisha, but I understand.
Exactly.
I understand what it is about, and there's no great fear again in it. Because I understand it. So yeah, this talk has been nice. I mean, I think I could do a part 2 because it seems like you have a whole heap of information, but sometimes the time and people decide to get weary and people decide to log out and that kind of thing.
Of course.
So we want to drown the people with information.
Yeah.
In one space. But this was nice. This was nice. But, it's always a pleasure talking to you and vibing.
Same here, John.
And then I want to bounce up the trio and with this live and with this our time. So shout out Forbesy and
Kala Gonzalez.
Legend.
Chazi, come.
What did the niece?
Yes, she wants to say hi. Say hi.
Hi.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yes. So she was monitoring the live.
Yeah, this next one I come here. That's now she looking to again.
What's that?
Making sure that my auntie going well.
All right. She's saying she's making sure her auntie is doing well.
All right. Good. So yeah.
Yeah, man, John, it was nice talking the things with you. I mean, I had a wonderful swell time.
No scene. Only thing I reach on Siparia yet, but we can deal with that.
You're always welcome. Walk with your mask. If you're coming for Christmas, walk with your mask. Curbside pickup. Tell me where you want to eat.
Well, you gotta say that twice. You gotta say that twice.
I have plenty sanitizer. If you want sanitizer, it have plenty soap and it have plenty water. All kind of water, coconut water, clean water, drain water. It's like
All right, no scene.
Yeah, man.
Again, thanks for coming through.
No problem.
All right, we go vibe later.
Of course. Bye.
Bye. Yes, people. Thanks for tuning in as per usual. It was a good one again. Next week I have a nice surprise for you. But we'll let that cat out of the bag Friday. I have a nice guest coming in next week. And don't forget the 28th of November. I'm going live right here again, but this time music, and the price is $100. It's on my website, johnsquare.com. You could pay via WePay or credit card, and you could do bank transfers, and all the information is there. I'll invite you all to the event page and so on. So yeah, thanks for tuning in to the things them. Love all you.